Right, it's episode 4 now, I believe. My name is Liam Daly, and this is University and Everything in Between. I'm so excited. This podcast is reaching new heights every episode. I'm well excited. So far, in these episodes, I've spoken to Dylan already. That was the first episode. Then we spoke to Chelsea, then Jay Foreman. But those guests all do have one thing in common, and it's the fact that they've all graduated, or Jay, in his case, he's graduated for about 12 years. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, you might say now, with those guests in terms of what's happening at the uni right now, which is why I'm particularly excited to speak to today's guest, because she is in fact a current student. Finally, we've spoken to one. Faye, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
So you are first year going into second year, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Very fresh.
Yeah, really fresh. We're going to be talking about in today's episode pretty much everything to do with first year. We're going to try and cover as many bases as we can. I'm excited to hear about your experiences and share some of my own. But obviously the big important thing is that you now have the voice to tell upcoming freshers what first year is like. And yeah. that is what's exciting at the most. But let's start off basic. Did you enjoy first year? Did you get? Because I feel like first year doesn't really count, and
yeah. See, I think I didn't expect it to be how it was for me personally, but since I've done first year, I've known of other people that have felt sort of similar to me. So how I felt about first year was that it was more for me. I had to take the time to settle in because it's just so different to what I sort of imagined, and I think I was going off films where people are at university and just have these crazy parties and huge groups of friends straight away. And I think it took a bit more time than I expected, but I still enjoyed it. It was just a massively new experience, and I think it was good, and I'm really excited to go to second year, probably more so than I was even to go to first year. So that's
good. That's good. I mean, I feel like because there's that caveat about first year not really counting, that maybe people don't value the experiences as much. Do you feel like you valued it for what you have learned?
Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I completely understand though. It makes sense if you haven't, because you don't have to really. It's just nights out and doing whatever you want, and I respect
making
that.
Friends and all that. Yeah, just cooking for yourself and all that. It's a lot to get used to. It was fine. I'm looking forward to second year.
Your experience is going to match what a lot of people experience, I reckon, because you've got to be properly mental if you start first year and go I'm going to do this. I'm going to get involved with all of these societies and don't just relax a bit and just.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to take your time with it as well and not rush.
Take a step back and let everything come in, because it's all happening and there's so much that you can do. You just need to breathe.
You do.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go right from the top down. So I hope you're ready for this. We're gonna go top down. So you obviously chose Constantine College. Everyone pronounces it differently. I don't know why. How do you pronounce it?
Constantine. Oh, but I didn't choose it.
You didn't choose it?
Story.
Here's
the story. Okay, story time. So I picked Vanbrugh and I got Vanbrugh, and then I was in Pollenza on holiday, and I woke up to a phone call from the university, and they just said, we've given away your room offer. And I'm crying, why? This was the perfect room. And they were like, you didn't pay your deposit on time, but I just didn't know that there was a deadline. I just probably didn't read my emails, so that's a big lesson that I've learned. And then they gave me 2 options because most of the rooms have been taken at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it was Fairfax with a shared bedroom with someone else.
Jeez.
I did not fancy, or it was Constantine, so it had to be Constantine. I didn't know much about it. And then I had a friend who was in second year when I was going into first year, and she was from Vanbrugh, so I think that was probably why I probably chose Vanbrugh, because I knew it was good.
Yeah.
And then she was telling me all these things about stereotypes at Constantine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, am I gonna fit in? So yeah, that was my story on Constantine.
So it wasn't by choice at all. That's blown my mind. Did you, like, looking back on it, I mean, I've written down, so we're going to go through like all of the different things about the colleges, and it's quite heavily stereotyped, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, it's all based in truth at some level. But, you know, seeing as though you didn't pick Constantine, did you not enjoy it because it was forced upon you, or did you? Big sigh.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I think I was different than the rest of my flatmates. I don't know. I'm not being mean, but I just think I maybe came from a different background to what they came from.
Yeah.
So we didn't click, in my opinion, straight away. And like I chose to sort of branch out a bit more than maybe they did.
Yeah.
But I've met like my best friend from Constantine, but it just so happens that we're in the same course. So I messaged the course group chat on the first day and said, "Who's from Constantine? Let's walk together."
Yeah.
And she was the only one that replied, and then we've just, you know, been together ever since.
And then
it's a
boom,
love story.
that's how it happens.
Yeah.
I love it.
She's gonna love this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everyone watches it, and then people are like, "Oh, you said this when then," and then I'll be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But when you chose Vanbrugh, so we'll talk about, you know, your flat and freshers and all that in a bit. But when you chose Vanbrugh, and I think when you choose any college, there are certain things that you do look at when you're picking a room, and it completely shocks me that you can, because I didn't even think this was a thing in Uni of York, but you can choose to live with someone else in your room. Like,
apparently so.
What is that? This is not America.
I know. I didn't think that would be an option. That was a big shock to me, but just something I could not do. I don't know about you, Ash.
I didn't live in a shared room, so that was also something I could not do.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you just hated them. I
know, because it's just look who you're with.
Yeah.
But that's the same with flatmates. But at least you've got more than one of them to.
Yeah.
Well, no,
true.
you'd still have flatmates, wouldn't you? But you just wouldn't have one person in your room the whole time. That's just...
You'd find out so many annoying little pet peeves that you hate, like snoring or like just general uncleanliness, or like, you know, that would be so annoying. You'd have to really like them.
It'd be like a relationship. You'd start getting the ick.
Yeah. It'd be so bad. But yeah, when people, I mean, some of the other things that people look at is, I've covered this in previous podcasts about shared bathrooms or en-suites. There's a great story that me and Chelsea did on a previous episode that you can check out if you want to hear that. But basically, shared or en-suite is a real big thing, I think, when people are picking a university room. How did you go when you originally chose Vanbrugh? What did you want?
En-suite.
En-suite. Okay, fair enough. And then when you went to Constantine, I bet you got shared. Did you get en-suite as well?
Yeah, Constantine. Do you know what that? Do you know what it is?
I thought, seeing as though that you got given Constantine, that they would have just. See, I've started saying it like you, and then I've just changed it.
I know. I change it all the time. I get ripped. Yeah.
I thought they would have given you shared just as default because you had to live in Constantine. Yeah,
that's true actually. But then maybe, I don't know. Does that mean that people pick shared more than en-suite?
I did personally.
Why?
I mean, it was personally because it was slightly more expensive for an en-suite, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a big reason, and that comes on to another thing that, I mean, obviously a lot of people focus on, which is the price. Do you remember how much it was for the room in Vanbrugh that you originally wanted?
Oh, no, not in Vanbrugh. I don't remember.
It was probably like 130 or something, wasn't it? Probably like 130.
Yeah,
140.
significantly less to what I.
And then
paid.
Constantine's like 155, 160. What is it?
I paid 195.
You paid what? Why? How?
I said this
I've just
in
been
a video.
Scammed.
I'm not sure if I've got this completely wrong, but I swear it was 195 a week. I got a weekly college meal as well with
so
that.
Did I.
So did you?
How have you paid 195?
Do you think I've got this wrong? Because someone's commented on a video saying, "Are you sure you paid 195?"
I hope you haven't, because you've been like, someone's been extorting you for money.
I don't know. I swear it was 195, but I could have just carried that wrong the whole way through my experience. Just telling everyone.
I'm sure, I'm not to be rude, but I hope you're wrong in this case, because then you've saved a bit of money without realising.
Yeah, okay.
But obviously, yeah, price is a big thing when people are picking university rooms. But proximity to their course building / whether it's on east or west is also a big deal. Like, did you study on west or east for your
West?
So
biology. Yeah.
A lot of people say they enjoy the commute. It's like, it feels like you're going to work almost. Like
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of like, yeah, it gives you a bit more structure, and it made me feel a bit more like a home than, I don't know, just because to college every day we'd commute, and I quite like going back to somewhere that was also less quiet, and yeah, it's just more fieldy than the West Campus. Yeah,
it is.
So,
when I first looked at East Campus, for anyone trying to decide which campus they want to go at, when I first went to East Campus, the first thing I thought when I saw it was they looked like centre parks. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that is quite a bougie outlook on East Campus. Probably outed myself as being way too posh right there. But it just looked like centre parks, and I just couldn't get over it. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to live there. Bit of a stupid move, because that's where I was actually based in terms of my course. So I was on the same campus. But I mean, it's however you like it. Like, I personally really enjoyed it being on the same campus, because it felt like I was almost in like a mini village or something. It was quite nice.
Yeah.
But then when I was looking through accommodation, I specifically chose Constantine because it was the furthest one away from my course building. So it at least gave me a bit of a walk. So
yeah,
it wasn't West Campus, but it was a bit of a walk at least.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like, obviously a massive thing about picking a room and which college you want to be in is the attributes that those colleges have and the stereotypes that go along with it. Now we'll cover some Constantine ones first. Have you got any that spring to mind?
This has just stuck with me the whole time. So this Harriet, he was the girl that was already at York when I was deciding to come, and she told me that Constantine was this is bad. Well, no, it's not bad.
Fiat, be honest.
It was Daddy's bought the Fiat 500.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, so that was what my first impression, and yeah,
it's proper like Daddy's money college. That's the stereotype anyway.
Yeah. But
I mean, what I found is that there are posh people who go to Constantine, obviously, but it's a lot less than you think. And the vast majority of people aren't posh at all. Like,
yeah, okay. I think maybe I didn't branch out enough and meet other flats, because, like, my flat were nice people. They were nice people, but they were posh.
Were they?
The majority were, yeah.
Oh, so it hasn't worked for you.
It's just luck, though, isn't it? It's just luck who you get put with. And this girl Lucy's become a best friend from Constantine. She's in the houses. Because I was in a flat, but you can get houses as well. And she was in a house. I basically lived in her house in the end, because they were all like my kind of people. We just could click quicker, and it was good.
It is weird, those colleges that have houses as part of accommodation.
Yeah.
It does make it feel like you're properly growing up, I suppose. But yeah, like having to choose a flat is quite a challenging process. But Constantine is fraught with some of those stereotypes of being like, it's like posh, it's too full of rich people or whatever. And I'm here to sort of break those stereotypes, because I've got a few stories of some real proper mental people, and I'll cover those later in this episode. But what I want to do now is like compare some of these colleges, and like, in your opinion, in hindsight, if you could go back, I know you're probably going to say Vanbrugh, but let's try and like figure out what we could do.
Okay.
Which colleges that we could prefer? Because in my opinion, the college I would choose in hindsight, if I could go back to first year, is completely different to the college that I ended up going to. So, I mean,
that's not good, is it?
It's what we're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Okay,
it's not for the reasons that you might think immediately. So let's start with Constantine. Now, what does Constantine have going for it? It's got the Forum, which, in my opinion, isn't well utilised at all. I mean, did you go to any events really in the Forum? Very much?
went to one because we were going on a night out and they said that it was free drinks.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We darted up, like we'd seen this notification and then 5 minutes we were there because we were like, we want free drinks. So we went and then it was just completely empty and we were the only ones. We grabbed us a few drinks and left. So yeah, no, it's not utilised at all.
I've done that exact same thing. They offer the free drinks before in some of the freshers events as well, and then you go and there's no one there, so you just go back to your flat kitchen and just pre there.
Yeah.
Literally, that happened so many times when I was there. So like the forum just doesn't get utilised enough. They do some events. They have like a Zumba thing or something. I don't know whether that still happens.
No, I don't. It does still happen, and there's like yoga and stuff now, which I haven't been to, but I know people that do go and enjoy it. So
yeah,
it's good.
And then obviously the biggest faux pas of all is the laundry. It's a topic that spans the entire university. So let's not be silly about that. But there's something about Constantine that's just like, it's so expensive. I think it's probably one of the most expensive ones on the whole campus. And you just, nothing you put in there gets dried or cleaned very well.
Or cleaned, yeah. No, I think someone in my flat had gone, and this is disgusting, they was sick in the dryer, and she didn't know, and she'd put her clothes in, and they've come out, and they stink of sick, and they should have been clean, but they stink of sick, and so I think they complained and maybe got some money.
I wouldn't be surprised. That is disgusting.
Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? And they never worked. I felt like I spent my whole time at uni just trying to work the washing machine.
Yeah, there's that app that barely ever works, or get a card and it sometimes works, and it's just like, but the idea of vomit in a dryer is like,
no.
Oh, that's not nice. But yeah, Dylan told me a story about how things would get nicked sometimes, like expensive clothes if you're washing those, and that's like, and he also told me that like financially it might be really viable if flats had their own dryers and stuff in their flats, which you could see an argument for. But I mean, again, that's something we covered in the other video. But something else that's sort of a bit, in my opinion, was a bit like Constantine's not very good, is the fact that it's so far away from like West. Because some people in their mind, they'd be like, it's so far out in the middle of nowhere. Like, the general vibe of East is how quiet it is. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a desert town.
It is
a ghost town. A desert
not
town. A desert town. It's a desert, but it's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town in a desert. Let's there we go.
Yeah, but to me, I played football and we were at the sports village, which is like next door to Constantine. So when all my friends like twice a week had to commute from West to this football pitch, and then we'd leave it at like 10 and they wouldn't get back till like 10:30, I'd be in bed by that time. So
exactly,
like it's had its pros for me, like in terms of the sports village being close, but also I didn't mind at all that it was far away. Like I actually quite liked it. So
I liked it as well.
Like it's a nice walk in the sun to West, I think. I
mean, just as a disclaimer, I don't hate Constantine.
You're throwing all these cons at me and I'm backing them off.
Trying to like bat them off. But yeah,
shoo
like
them away.
To do a bit of a pro, like Constantine is really close to the sports village. I'm going to be running through like a whole pros and cons of the sports village versus sports centre, whether it's worth it, whether it's not. So we're going to be doing that in a moment. But now Constantine is right next to Langwith. Now, this is where my argument changes quite drastically. So, in my opinion, Langwith is one of the best, if not the best, East Campus colleges.
Yeah.
Because, right, what has it got? Glasshouse. Glasshouse has pool tables, it's got dartboards, it's got iconic cocktails, right? That whole cocktails board for all of the different colleges is fantastic. If you haven't done the holy pilgrimage through the Glasshouse cocktail board, then you haven't lived first year.
I actually haven't. I haven't done it. I need to do it.
Honestly, it's so much fun. You just have every cocktail on the board. It's great.
Oh, cool. Okay. I do like Langwith. I like that it's yellow as well.
Exactly. It's just got so much going for it. Something that not a lot of people know is they have music practice rooms right in campus, in the college. They're in the back accommodation behind Glasshouse. and that it's private to Langwith students, so it's basically just free music practice for whoever wants to use it, and not a lot of people knew it was there. But
that's not promoted enough.
I know. I was the only reason why I found out about it is because I do a fair bit in the music scene in York. So when I was in first year trying to meet people who wanted to play music, there was a few people who lived in Langwith and knew about this like practice room, but it was so quiet, like barely anyone ever uses it. But it's fantastic. It's got like drum kits and amps and all sorts in it. It's great. And obviously, I think you've mentioned this in a video. Also, I think it was you, that all the Langwith rooms have 3/4 beds. Like, a lot of them do. The rooms are slightly smaller, but the kitchens are better. I've been in a few Langwith kitchens, and I think they're better than Constantine.
So much better. We had a rubbish 2-seater leather sofa that was just ripped. And then we go to Langwith, and they've got these L-shaped, grey, comfy sofas. It's just so unfair.
Yeah.
But they do have a smaller kitchen, but then I don't think it matters. I'd have picked the grey sofas over the kitchen.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be living there for a year, let's be honest. You want to pick the best ones. And it is... Yeah. I'm pretty sure Langwith is slightly cheaper than Constantine.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, there's another great incentive to pick Langwith. And you also get 2 common rooms. You get 2 great common rooms. And the piazza is in the same college, so you literally, like, the piazza has the libraries and the cafe, which I've used quite a lot to just go eat before lectures. It's not good. But yeah, Langwith, absolutely. That's where I, in hindsight, would have chosen if I'd have known. It just has so much going for it. And
if I had to pick because they're premium, aren't they? It's Langwith so. Premium.
Yeah.
So, yeah, out of the premium, I would have picked Langwith now. Definitely, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I've managed to convince you. I mean, I'm not an ambassador for the university, but I mean, if I was going to go anywhere, that's where I'd go.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great ones on campus. Now, Goodrick has that sort of stereotype as being the college that's in the middle of nowhere, which is quite ironic because it's next to Langwith and Constantine, which are arguably further out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Isn't it just like it doesn't exist? I've just done a video on this, so they're all fresh in my head, all these stereotypes.
Do you want to go for it?
Goodrick, the stereotype is, does Goodrick exist? Like, it doesn't exist.
No.
It's just so unknown. And then there was something about it being haunted as well.
Haunted? What's that?
Apparently there was someone walking through and heard screaming or something. But that, I mean,
that could
some students just be screaming.
Yeah, that could just.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's the rumor. Rumor has it.
That's a bit creepy. Now we're not selling Goodrick at all. It might be haunted. People, be careful.
I don't believe in ghosts, so that won't be something to put me off.
Okay, there we go. There's the title. I don't believe in ghosts, Faye Singleton. But yeah, I mean, obviously because my course building is in Goodrick, I've had to go there quite a lot. And you've probably walked through it to get to West and things, because there's a great little like walking route through East to West.
Yeah.
But did you ever go to Goodfest? Do you even know what Goodfest is?
Yes, I think I've heard of it, but go for it. I haven't been, so.
It's the festival that the uni puts on that's so bad that it's good, sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
It was.
We had a Freshers Fest, which I didn't end up going to. I think I'd bought a ticket, but I think it was just, it wasn't appealing at the time. I think there was something better on that night. But so is it just for the college then? Yeah.
Yeah, Goodfest was a college event, so it wasn't a uni event, but everyone could go to it. Like, you don't have to be from Goodrick. But I mean, in terms of like things that a college has going for it, like if you have your own festival, like that's pretty good. Like, not all the colleges have their own music festivals, and they try and do it every year, and they do try and bring in like decent guests. Like, I've spoken about this on a previous episode, but Tinchy Strider was there last year, so you missed out on Tinchy. The 2010 god that he is.
Wow. That's cool though that they have actual musicians.
Yeah, real musicians on a real stage.
Yeah.
So that was a great experience in my opinion. Like Goodfest did a great job. They've got great common rooms. You know, it's like if you live there, you're right on the doorstep for your course buildings. Because I'm guessing if you've chose Goodrich, like a lot of people that I met chose Goodrich because they were like right on the doorstep for their like departments, whether it's computer science or film and TV or law and management. It's like you can literally just roll out of bed 5 minutes before the lecture starts, and you're just there on time and it's fine, which is an attraction to some people, I'd say. Like personally, I didn't want to be literally that close because then there's the flip side of it where you might not go out and do much outside of the actual college because you don't want to be like just stuck in one place every day, like having the excuse to go somewhere, which is probably what worked with you being in Constantine because then you got to explore a bit more and walk around.
Because I picked Vanbrugh. I think one of my reasons for picking Vanbrugh was that it was so close to biology and I could just roll out of bed. But I think actually in hindsight I would have preferred, like, I enjoyed Constantine and travelling, so yeah.
No, I agree. It's good to be able to like travel through the campus because it can be quite confusing when you first arrive, like trying to navigate your way around the campus, and definitely forcing yourself to have to, walk through it every day and map it out can definitely help, speed up that like acclimatization as well, which I think is really important. But it's good that you mentioned Vanbrugh because that's the one I was going to talk about next, and I really don't understand why you love those 60s architecture so much. Like it just looks grim. Like,
I mean, it's better than Derwent's look.
That's true.
I think I picked it because it was recommendation, and it seemed like it was this sporty party social thing, which I was really interested in, and that's what I wanted. And then again, it was close to biology, so it seemed like just a lot of pros at the time.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. But I mean, I've been in a few different Vanbrugh accommodation blocks. Doesn't it have like a really naff oldie bit that looks like a prison and is really horrible, and then it's got like a modern bit that's like nice and expensive and lovely?
Yeah, there's different varieties of Vanbrugh.
There's different shades.
yeah. I can't remember which block. I like the name sort of it's somewhere in my head. It might come to me.
But was it a nice part or was it a bad part?
No, it was a nice part.
Because I've been in some pretty shocking areas of Vanbrugh accommodation, and it's basically it's like south side of the lake, so it's a lot of those buildings that are close to the lakeside as possible, and inside it's just like concrete boxed buildings, and inside the paint's peeling, there's damp everywhere. It's there's like insects in the bathrooms and it's horrible. It's like it just makes your skin crawl. And the beds are literally like thin. They're like boards.
Oh God.
It just doesn't sound like it just doesn't look like an appealing place to live. Like if you were to choose a college.
I think I'd end up like backing out of uni.
It would It would be a pretty challenging freshers if you're like, right, this is what I'm doing for a year, and you're just looking at your horrid room. But I mean, some people like it, and like, everyone's in different situations, and you have to like bear in mind that it's cheap for some people and expensive for others, I suppose. And it's important to, pick somewhere that you are gonna ultimately enjoy for the year. Though I think's more important than the money side of things. Mental health is very important.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some good stuff that Vanbrugh has, and probably that influenced the reason why you originally picked it, and it's probably going to make you now like really be like,
regret.
God damn it, why did I pick it? But I mean, not picking this uni to live there doesn't mean you can't use this stuff. And I mean, like, V-Bar is like such a great place. I love V-Bar. Yeah. It's like so relaxed. I'm guessing you use V-Bar a lot for like before you go out and stuff. Unless
actually,
you're pre.
No, we just ended up staying in Constantine. It was too much of a trek, I think, to pre anywhere else. I only went before like Wednesday socials with the football team because they were all on West.
Oh yeah.
So
it
is good.
I mean, the sports socials with like all the sports teams, they pre like all over the place, don't they? Usually.
Yeah, it mixes up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did attend V-Bar a few times.
That's good. I mean, V-Bar is an iconic Uni of York, bar. So I mean, it's a great place. Like there's the quiz nights that they have there quite regularly, which are a lot of fun. They also have karaoke, which
Oh God, that is not for me.
I've got a video of like a group of my mates all singing karaoke together, and I'm there filming them. It's like, as long as I don't have to sing, I'll get involved.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a case of like, don't drag me in front of the mic, please.
I can't do that. I don't like karaoke. I'm sorry.
It's a fun...
Unless it's good songs. It's normally cheesy music, and that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, that's the point, actually. If it's cheesy and, you know, someone thrusts a mic in your face and it's like, do a solo, it's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I definitely recommend checking out the all these, like, little bar events that Vanbrugh puts on. I mean, loads of colleges put on little bar events. I mean, circling back to Constantine, they do Marmite. Are you a fan of Marmite? I hated Marmite with a passion.
You will love it, you hate it.
Yeah, that is the reason it's called Marmite.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I hated it so much. It was so cringy, but like loads of people that I knew was like, oh, it's so good. Do you want to come to Marmite? And I was just like, no.
No.
Oh, dear me. But yeah, I mean, if you do go to Constantine, you will probably experience Marmite at some point, hopefully. It'll be even worse nowadays, I reckon, with the social distance.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How are they gonna do that? I don't know.
I hope they don't. What else does VBAR have? Are you aware of URY, University Radio York? Vanbrugh is the centre for University Radio York.
I walk past the radio building quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite hidden, isn't it? Like, it just looks like a very unassuming little box in the middle of like.
Yeah, it's intriguing, but I don't know much about it, so.
It's one of the best societies on campus. Of course, I'm going to say that. I've been a member for like 2 years. But it's so good. I've spoke about it so much on this podcast. It's unreal. But I would definitely recommend it. It's such a great place. Like you mentioned about like, you know, going to sports societies and finding friends and meeting them through group chats. Like URY is such a great place to meet like-minded people. And there's so many people who do presenting that's sort of like a version of what you do for YouTube. And there's like so many people who are keen, and like that's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah, actually, that seems like something I'd actually really enjoy. Do you get to DJ? Because I'm a bit of a DJ.
Yeah. You get to DJ, of course you do. We have our own DJ decks.
No way.
Yeah.
What night's your social? Like, what night is your...
We have like, oh my God, we drink all the time. Like, it's become literally like, we don't specifically, you know, block one out. But before, obviously, we broke up, it was usually like Tuesday or Wednesday. It mostly was Tuesday, though, because it was like a pizza thing. And then we, you know, drink. Okay. And, you know, it was quite a lot of fun. But
when do you like meet? When I really want to go.
We meet all the time, but proper meetings are Monday nights usually. I love it how this has turned into like selling URI. But yeah, I mean, this is important actually. Like, if people want to try University Radio York out, it's Monday nights at 7:00. Your best bet to finding out exactly where is going on the website. It's ury.org.uk. I've got this stuff on the top of my head because it's ury.org.uk.
Do you get commission?
Oh, I wish.
Okay.
And you can find all this stuff out. And I mean, get Slack. Slack is like this business social media app. And you basically join the URY Slack, and there's all of the channels on there to talk about like where to meet and when meetings are happening and what's going on.
Okay.
It's so easy to get involved, and the membership's only £7. So I mean, I would definitely recommend it. So
someone can teach me how to DJ if I went to that?
Yes, literally. We do DJ training, and we do collaborations with breaks all the time as well. So there's like opportunities to play with breaks and do like big campus events. It's fantastic. You'd love it.
Okay, I'm coming. You've sold it.
Yes, absolutely. You'll love it. I mean, you can just tell how much I love it. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
But like, one of the other societies that are pretty big on in Vanbrugh is the Drama Barn. Have you ever been to a Drama Barn production?
No.
Honestly, like, you would be surprised because it's all student run and it's all student actors and producers and directors and stuff. You think it's going to be like, it's a bit, you know, it's not that great. But trust me, I went to one with some friends and it was genuinely fantastic. Like,
really?
The atmosphere is great. The professionalism's off the charts. Like, they take it really seriously and it's fantastic. So good.
Oh. You're just giving me loads of new things to try out. I love this.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. This is not just stuff that you have to do in first year either. This is stuff that you can transition across to doing in second year as well and third year. So, like, what I would say is that if you do go through first year and you maybe don't try this stuff out, like maybe you've done, it in no way means that you can't get involved. Like, there's plenty of people that join way after in their third year even and still manage to get loads out of some of these societies. And I mean, I personally did get involved in first year straight away, but like I'm the weird random one. But like you for yourself, I would definitely recommend getting involved. And anyone watching who's really keen about doing stuff or maybe doesn't know, like you'll figure it out and you'll find out and you'll find something you love. So
definitely, yeah. Nice. I wanted to join the DJ society, but it just clashed with football, and it's very football heavy. Like, I was playing 3 times a week, so yeah, it took a lot of time.
So football took priority for you.
Yeah.
No, you actually should try DJing out.
I will.
I DJ'd Courtyard's 11th birthday, or I like actually put it all together, all the DJs,
wow.
And I'd gone out the night before and was incredibly hungover. And literally it was one of the worst / best nights of my life because it was like 8 hours from 7 till 2 o'clock in the morning where I was hungover and exhausted and everyone's drinking around me, so the air is just full of alcohol, like the smell, and I'm literally just like going, just trying to get through it. But that was
cool.
That was so much fun. Did you go to Courtyard's 11th? I mean, it's a big event. I didn't. Oh, you should have done. You're missing out things, man.
It probably was on a football night, just saying.
I mean, this segues me in nicely to talk about Derwent now. And like, those parts. So Derwent has sort of like 2 main bars, doesn't it? It's got D Bar and then it's got Courtyard. What? Yeah. Courtyard's the bigger one and probably arguably the nicer one.
I love Courtyard.
Yeah, Courtyard's great. It's got so many good drinks deals and like, the food's really good, even though it's going through like Courtyard Gate, if you get what I mean. Every time they change the menu, it's like, oh my God, there's going to be a strike. It's like they've changed the chips, lynched them all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, D-Bar has a lot going for it because it's got 2 bars. In the other bar, D-Bar, they do darts night. Have you ever tried throwing a few darts? No,
can't say I have.
It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. You'll build a lot of muscle in your forearm. It's great.
Just one side.
Just one side. Yeah, will be really like heavily forearm. I mean, I literally did. I think I played darts for about 4 hours in one stint and nearly pulled a muscle in my forearm.
Oh God,
you just start.
Dangerous.
You just start and you just can't stop because it's just like so relaxing.
I used to play like with my granddad's shed, so I'm maybe a bit of a pro. I need to try it out.
You sound like a pro. I mean, I did it very much late into my darts career. Not that I have any career.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the fatigue is real. So don't go too hard.
Okay.
But like, I feel like every uni has a quiz as well. So Derwent has tons of quiz nights. I did one once, and it was like. It was all right. It was after a URY meeting, and we just randomly ended up in D-Bar doing a quiz there. So that was like random. Like, why are we here? But yeah, Derwent is also a massive college. Like in general, like it matches Vanbrugh in its size. It's huge.
Yeah.
But you mentioned like earlier, like it does look a bit like run down and unlikable as a place that you might want to live.
Yeah, the rumour of asbestos is a bit of a off-put. Yeah.
It can definitely be. But I think the offset for that is the fact that Derwent is like right next to Heslington Hall, and like Heslington Hall is like some of the nicest walks around there. Like it's like all.
It's like your view from your room would be the prettiest sight you could have at the uni but then you walking into your room, it's just the worst. It's like
It's like Carl Pilkington said this great quote when he said, "I'd rather live in the hole than the palace," because then when he lives in the hole, he gets to look at the palace.
view the palace. Actually, that is a really good point. Yeah.
Do you think that's Derwent's like motto, that we live in the hole so we can look at the palace?
Yeah, they should use that more. I like that.
Oh dear.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, like Heslington Hall's a great little like spot to walk around in. I see people having picnics around there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously the geese are pretty intense around Heslington Hall area. I mean, they're pretty intense around everywhere, but Heslington Hall is like quite a spot for them. But yeah, it does look like a bit of a disused like primary school or something, or like a high school with all this like, you know, like varnished panels and like.
Yeah, it's just the grey. I just don't like the grey.
Yeah.
It's just boring.
It is a bit boring. And it is probably one of the most stereotyped colleges on campus.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Actually, I don't know. I think it's in competition with Constantine. I think there's too many Constantine. If I say to someone I'm from Constantine, they're like, oh.
They physically real.
Yeah. No.
I'm wondering who you've met who's physically reeled when you've said, "I'm from Constantine."
It's just like, oh, so you're rich then? I'm like, no.
It's like, don't judge me. You don't know me.
Yeah. Do it once, like, I don't know, it's just a bit... Wait, it's stereotype is like, it's a massive party college.
Yeah, it's like the rugby lads. Like,
yeah.
There's the party college. It's the asbestos. But I mean, from my opinion, like, Derwent is probably got some of the nicest people who go there. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've met a lot of really lovely people from Derwent, and they're just like generally really energetic and buzzy, and you know, have a good time and know how to have a good time. So I don't knock it, to be honest. I think it's good to have a bit of a laugh and you know,
definitely.
play up to that stereotype a little bit. But like a lot of the people there, it's a great college. But like, obviously, because so we're going to move on to talk about James College and then Alcuin, Wentworth and Halifax. So obviously you're quite sporty, and I mean, one of the you know, sort of most sporty colleges is probably James. You know, it's like, it's the sport college. So I mean, if you were like very sporty inclined, that would be a great college to pick, I reckon, because you've got the sports centre right on the doorstep. You've got, you know, all the track and field. You've got, you know, loads of people who are probably going to be involved in sport and interested in sport joining the college as well. So it's probably a great atmosphere if you're a massive sports advocate. Would you have picked somewhere like that, or was...
Yeah, I think I would have done. I think I was more making my decision off what looked nice, what Harriet was recommending, have the nicest rooms, kitchens and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if I'd have seen some of James's rooms, I probably would have stayed away, because I went to a few kitchens and stuff, and they were a bit of a mess.
No.
Like really small, but they're catered, aren't they?
Yeah.
In James, I think most of them,
yeah,
or
most of them
all
are,
of them. Yeah, so their kitchens are quite small, but there wasn't like a sofa. I don't know. There was just like holes in the wall and
holes.
I think this, well, not holes, chips and stuff like that, like marks.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it maybe depends on who's looking after the kitchen.
Definitely.
As well.
We had holes in our walls in Constantine, so I mean,
really?
yeah. Trust me, it was a bit of a raucous flat.
Okay.
But yeah, James College has like the JCR. It's got the lounge, which is an events bar. Great with bandsock and breaks. Breaks do loads of stuff in the lounge. Lots of.
What's breaks?
Breaks is the DJ society.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, breaks DJs.
Oh. I didn't know that was called.
They run. There's loads of student-led DJ events like On and On and Chameleon.
Chameleon.
There's loads. There's tons. And James College is an amazing place to find all those. I mean, Battle of the Bands in the lounge is an event that I personally love, and it's fantastic. It's such a great atmosphere. I spoke about it tons on this podcast, and there's so many great people there. But in general, I think, in my opinion, James College just looks like a really modern college. Like, there's loads of really nice looking accommodation, and as you say, like, it does depend on who lives there. I think you'd agree.
Yeah. But there's also, isn't there the prison block, N block?
Yeah. But I mean,
So you've got like in every college there's like good and bad.
I reckon you've got a pretty good chance of not ending up in the prison block.
Yeah, it's just one of many.
It's just one of many great places to live. But I mean, everything's in distance. Everything's pretty close by. I mean, it seems like a pretty great place to go and live, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What would you say? So this next one, I'm going to see if you can try and guess it. What would you say is the college that nothing really happens there, and it's quite boring?
Wentworth.
I mean, that's probably. I mean, that's mature.
Only because.
I thought.
Yeah, so that's why I was going to go with that. Well, Halifax as well.
You're just throwing them all under the bus.
No, but I know that Halifax is. Again, this is something I said in my video literally yesterday. But anyway, forgotten college again. Something that I had to ask where it was because
you had to ask where it was. Check a map.
I didn't know. Yeah, but like I just haven't walked past it. Maybe I don't know, or realised where it was. It's like hidden. In between east and west, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I don't really know much about it.
You've thrown both of those under the bus, and that they wasn't the answers that I was looking for. I was looking for Alcuin.
Really?
But maybe that's why you didn't say it.
See, my Alcuin perception is like, yes, the stereotype's like boring because it's next to the library. That's like the reason. But I've got, I don't know, I feel like, I don't think I know many people from Alcuin. One of very close friend, Emma, from Alcuin is not boring in the slightest.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. It's a stereotype.
That's when I think Alcuin, I just think Emma, and then I'm like, it's not boring.
One of the weirdest things that I've ever seen in Alcuin is a dead body being wheeled into a medical department.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not real then.
I've literally got no idea. It was on a big trolley.
Well, did it have a sheet over it, like a white sheet? Oh.
Because there's all the medical buildings around there, isn't there?
Yeah, whole medical school. Yeah, York. Yeah.
So there's. I just found that like added to the sort of creepy vibe of Alcuin. It's like very quiet, and then there's just some random like bloke wheeling a trolley with something that looks like a body on it, and I was like, okay.
That's not what you want to see in your first week at Alcuin, is it?
No, I would argue not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does have the dog society that takes place in their common room, which I've been there, and it's a lot of fun. I was so excited to go to the dog petting society. Oh. It's literally everything you can think of. It's a dream.
How many dogs did you pet? Was it just one per event, or?
No, you get to. They bring along like 8 or 9 dogs. You get to pet them all.
I love dogs. That's something else I need to make a list of everything you're suggesting. Will you send me an email after this?
This is why we're doing a podcast, because it's recorded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oops. Sorry.
So you can catch it up.
Oh yeah.
And you can hear about it. I'm sharing my information. But trust me, like, it's going to be weird. Like, we're going to talk about your next year coming up and what it's going to be like in 2020 for freshers.
Yeah.
But if it's available, going to something like the Dog Petting Society is a great way to just let out some nervous emotions and stuff, and just have a bit of a relaxing time, because it's not intense at all. You don't have to drink. I mean, that's like one of the big things. You know, you can meet people who are just there to relax as well, and dog petting is just a universally good thing. Like, it's a universally good thing. Everyone likes it.
Therapy.
Apart from people who are allergic. But, like, I don't know.
Even allergic people like it.
Yeah, put a glove on and then just do it like that, and you know, avoid the dog hair. But that's something that's good about Alcuin. And I mean, it is, like you mentioned it before, like, it's very, very close to the library, so you know, you're straight out of bed and into a book, that sort of thing. And you know, the library, the library's like a real territorial place. Like let's not beat around the bush here. It's like, you know, when you go on holiday and you try and, you know, get the sun lounges, and you try and like claim sun lounges in the morning before breakfast. It's literally like that, but in a library. It's fantastic. It's you know, you got to be there like dead. I've seen people there. people at York do 24-hour like stints in the library. I've seen a few videos and people doing that.
Videos, yeah. Up all night,
which is mental.
locked in the library. Yeah, it's open 24 hours, isn't it? Yeah. I hope I never have to do that.
I hope you never have to do it either. I'm praying
Thanks.
for you. I hope you never have to do it. But yeah, I mean, there is a level of like the first come first serve / dog eat dog thing where it's like if you don't get a seat, you're out. You're gonna end up in some back corner, like all the way on the top floor, just struggling to even reach the toilet anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another stereotype of college, but it's got good things going for it. And honestly, I personally wouldn't have chosen to go there, but I could definitely pick worse colleges. I mean, the list has already exposed some pretty colleges.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you're welcome to try this next one, seeing as you've just done it on it for a video. But the last two are Wentworth and Halifax, which I guess, probably don't get talked about all that much because I think most people coming to university won't choose Wentworth because obviously it's a mature college, and Halifax, a lot of people do go there obviously, but it is just a bit out of the way, and that you feel like there might be that risk of you missing out something with the uni experience. I suppose maybe is that something that you thought?
I don't know, because obviously being on East, that's like a big thing that you could miss out because you're so far from West. So I don't know if I'd give that a reason to not go to Halifax because it's like in between both. So.
Yeah.
It's not that far from West, is it? Because you just cross the road.
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I saw some memes on the York meme account, and it was like Halifax girls, I don't know, just they'd like put them down as like, I don't know, a bit like chavvy, but I don't know that. I didn't.
Chavvy?
That's just what the meme says.
York memes, not really a reputable source of information, not gonna lie. This is a reputable source of information.
Yeah, this is the place to be. Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to slag off anyone, but like there's a lot of beef around York memes and stuff like that, or it has been in the past with like Your Fest and York memes and all the student medias, but I'm not going to get into that today. This is not what we're trying to get into.
No.
But Halifax, we're going to be finishing up very soon talking about all these different colleges, and I hope it's helped you maybe make some sort of educated decision about where you might want to choose to go, or even if you choose one of them, where you might want to choose to just go have a look and try something new, and take someone that and maybe try a bar there, because every college has a great bar, almost, barring like Constantine and Goodrick and some of those ones. But every college has something good going for it. Now, the last one, obviously, Halifax, because Wentworth's a mature student, so I don't really feel like that's going to relate to a lot of people. But Halifax is like a bit of a mini village. Like I had a few friends who lived there.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, when I was picking accommodation, I didn't even consider Halifax at all, because in my mind, because it wasn't connected to either East or West campus in like a literal sense, like being a college on the actual physical campus, it did in my mind feel like it would be some sort of loss of the college or the university experience. Like the freshers week wouldn't be the same, or like, you'd feel excluded naturally just because you're sort of in like a mini village that's not connected. Did you feel that, or did you?
I can see that. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, no, I can imagine, because I've been down it by mistake on a bus.
On a bus.
Just not known. And oh god, I felt like I was on like a roller coaster on that bus because of bumps on Halifax Road. Anyway, that's not important right now. But it is so very secluded, isn't it? Like there's just like a few roads, and are they flat? Like, is it? Yeah, it's flats, isn't it?
It's houses and flats, and I've been there.
Yeah. They're not tall buildings, are they?
No.
Yeah.
But it may sound like I'm, not pro Halifax, but in my 2 years at Uni of York, I'm proud to say I think it's a pretty good college. I'm not going to lie. So it's got a very popular and frequented pub called Charles the Seventh. Charles the Seventh is a great pub. Like a lot of people have said a lot of good stuff about that pub. It's right inside Halifax, so it's great for just casual weekday or weekend trip with the mates. It's great. It sounds fun. It's also literally right on the doorstep of 22 Acres, which is one of the uni-owned pitches, and it's really close to James College. So when the university hosts things like Roses and college varsity, you know, if you're a member of Halifax, you literally just walk straight out your door, and there's a field where all the events taking place. There's there's James College where the rest of the events taking place. It's like you're right there, and I feel like in a sense that does bring it more in to being a part of that community. The fact that it does co-host a lot of those events with James, I suppose,
Right.
and it's a reason why I think, you know, maybe people should give it more of a look than maybe they first might think. Because I mean, a lot of the friends that I've known have gone to Halifax, absolutely loved it, and thought it was a great college.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even think I know anyone from Halifax. That's crazy.
It's too far away for you.
Not that like that's an issue to make a friend from Halifax, but I just don't think I've come across people. Yeah. But
Let's wrap up this first segment with, what is your opinion then? After all of that, in hindsight, where would you have picked?
Langwith.
Yeah, Langwith.
Yeah. Damn it.
Literally, like, I don't know. There's just something about Langwith.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I wanted a house. The houses are nice in Langwith. Yeah, Langwith was the one.
I can't even... I remember thinking that literally while walking through it some days, like going to my course building, just thinking, I wish I'd picked Langwith, to be honest.
Oh no, that's really sad.
But for no specific reason, just it looks great. There's loads of great facilities. Like, I love my flat. I love being where I was, and you know, it was perfect for me for that year. But if I'd had a new experience and had the chance to go back and try it, that would have been the choice I think I would have made differently. But it's interesting to hear your perspective on it, and I hope people watching will see you sort of having that opinion on the different colleges and you know, making that educated opinion, and you know, hopefully.
But of course, like it is all stereotypes. I tried to get this across to my followers, like
it's all stereotypes.
I'm not the Constantine stereotype, and I've been there and met people that aren't, so it shouldn't be something to scare you away from making a decision.
No, exactly. And I mean, we've covered, what I've tried to do with this is cover way more than just stereotypes and talk about the actual good things that the colleges have and the things that are available to the people who go there, because I think that's important, because the university websites are not going to cover the stereotypes, so that's the fun bit, that's like the fun quirky bit, but then the real parts come from actually living there and being there and finding out what's good and what isn't, because the university's not going to talk about, oh yeah, we have a great forum in the Constantine, but does it get used that much? Do people actually attend the events they put on? I wouldn't say they do that all that much.
No,
I mean, they are useful and they're useful to the people who go, but I wouldn't personally say that I saw it get used a whole lot by people who were there. So I mean, I think it's important that people broaden their horizons in terms of where they find their research for when they're going to uni, which is the reason for this podcast as well, at the end of the day. So I was going to move on to talk a bit about like mental health and that experience that you had in first year. You mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, but I wanted to ask a few more questions and find out some little bits about that experience and what it was like for you. If you want to find out about how I experienced Freshers Week and that first few weeks, and I'm going to be covering way more probably as this conversation goes on with Faye, then you can check out the first episode that I did with Dylan right at the beginning of this lovely podcast, where I talk about some of the sort of challenges that I faced with Freshers Week, because it was, you know, different for everyone and wasn't necessarily the best for me. So it is, you know, everyone goes through the journey in different ways, and, you know, I'm interested to speak to people who have those different experiences. So, I mean, Faye, you talked a little bit about, like, right at the beginning when you said going to university had those levels of expectations that you had in your mind. And I said a similar thing with Dylan. Like, a lot of my expectations were built up on the fact that you kind of get indoctrinated on this sort of popular culture and film and, you know, that like wide view that's held in society about how university should be. Was that like that for you? Did you feel that?
Because I wish I'd have watched like vlogs and stuff more before going to university, because it just gives you a real a realistic like view on what is actually happening, what people are actually feeling. But I went to uni without any sort of, I don't know, like prior knowledge, I think, to what it was really going to be like. I just expected this huge, I don't know, just a ride, but then you meet your best friend and you get in this group straight away and you have the most amazing nights out, and you know, you can cook great meals and all that. But I don't know, it just, I think I don't want to say like, I don't know, I think I was a bit unlucky with not clicking with my flat in the way I'd expected to.
Yeah.
And perhaps if that had just been like a different flat, then it could have been completely different. I don't know. It's just luck in my head. It is luck who you get put with. But then luckily there's so many different ways, like through societies and sports, that you find others. So that was what sort of solved my feelings.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Freshers Week is like a real big change. Like you get thrown.
It's intense.
It's very intense. Like you get thrown into that new situation of being with a new group of people. But I'm just picking up on what you said about like you wish you'd have watched vloggers going into university, and I've got a counterpoint to that, because personally, I think vloggers also sugarcoat the university experience, because if you're a content creator doing YouTube, you don't want to really show that you're struggling with university, in my opinion, in your Freshers Week vlog, because then it's kind of like, oh, I'm not really enjoying it, or maybe it gets a bit too real. And I think from a content perspective, a lot of vloggers want to showcase Freshers Week and university as being this party, like fun, like I'm meeting new people, I'm trying food. What's your opinion on that? Do you agree, or is you?
I agree, because I think some people do sugarcoat and just, you know, show. It's just like Instagram, isn't it? You don't show, I don't know, like I'm just thinking about like you put the picture on Instagram that's showing your best life, like you don't show a picture of you crying or something like that. But for me, like when I made that vlog, I made a Freshers Week vlog and I was crying, and I filmed myself crying because I wanted to show, you know, the real parts. Like, this is the Freshers Week. I wanted to capture everything that I felt during that Freshers Week. And I do know other vloggers that do the same. A couple of people at Leeds that do that, and I think that is what vloggers should do. But I agree that some people don't do that. Yeah.
I mean,
I did.
It impresses me. It impresses me that you did. Because I think that's important, and that's what I'm trying to do, is show that real side of things. And like Freshers Week for a lot of people isn't the nicest experience that they go through, and they end up enjoying university way more in the weeks and months after that than they do. Yeah, I had way better nights out after Freshers Week. It's
because you are literally lumped with 10 people in your flat. You've never met them. You're told to go out on this night out with strangers you've never met, to a place you've never been.
Exactly.
You don't know how to get home without someone telling you how to get home. And like, yeah, it's just all very, I don't know, like you're forced into doing it. I don't know. But it is a good way of getting like used to it quickly, just being thrown in.
It's trial by fire on an extreme level.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But as you get months and whatever go on at uni, like just meeting and like more friends and stuff, it just makes it a better experience.
Yeah. Did you, in terms of Freshers Week, did you enjoy that experience in hindsight, or would you wish you could go back and change something that happened, or change something that you experienced, or do you wish you'd not had to drink? Do you think that helped? I try not to lump too many questions at you.
Yeah, I think at the time I was enjoying Freshers Week because it was just something I'd been excited for. Or I didn't feel very. I didn't feel nervous going to university in terms of meeting people, just because I thought it would just happen. But then when it didn't happen, that was a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah.
But in terms of Freshers Week, at the time I was really enjoying the events, and I think there was a night where some of the girls in the flat decided to have a bit of like a night in. We did face masks and that kind of thing. Like I really remember enjoying it, and at the time it wasn't sad. Like it's just like, this is what uni is then. Just getting used to that whole thing. Yeah. But looking back, because I've definitely had better nights out and stuff than Freshers Week, 100%.
So you did bond. So were those nights in with the original flat at the very beginning?
Yeah.
So you did. So you did bond with them in some ways.
Yeah. Like, we weren't not friends, but it was more small talk than actually felt getting to know.
It wasn't like a
each other.
genuine connection, you wouldn't say?
Yeah, I think so. But in Freshers Week, you know, I liked them. I think you sort of like cling to your flat in Freshers Week because they've all you've got.
Do you think there's an element of when, I mean, I think everyone experiences this at some level, when you go into university and it's like you've moved from home and you don't have a friendship group yet, do you think there's an element of like you cling to anyone no matter whether they're good for you or not? And like, did you feel like there was an element of that when you started? That like you had the only people that you knew as being your flat, so you sort of had to cling to them in a sense.
Yeah, definitely. You just do that though, don't you? You just do cling to them because they've all you got. You don't want to be a loner. So, but at the time I wasn't like, oh, I know that these aren't the right people for me, but I'm still gonna cling. That wasn't a decision that I made. In the moment, it was just like, oh, these are my flatmates. Like, I'm gonna get to know them. We'll have a pamper night and we'll go out, and it was good fun at the time. And then as I met others, I was like, okay, I click with these football girls more than I do my flat. So then you sort of like broaden your horizons and branch out.
What gradually changed to make it become more of a positive situation? Was it going to the sports? Was it going out a bit more, meeting new people?
Yeah, and like meeting Lucy, the best friend.
Where did you meet her again?
That was the girl that I messaged on
the group chat.
Yeah. So then that sort of changed it as well because we just did everything together.
I think I did the exact same thing as you, actually. Now you mention it, like messaging your group chat saying who's in Constantine, and then I got a reply back saying, "Oh, I am," and then ended up walking with them to and from the course building quite a lot. And then she's like one of my best friends at uni now, so that's like it's like
that's nice, isn't it? And it's so not surprising, but it's interesting because she was the only person that replied. Yeah. In that whole course group chat, but maybe that's no, I'm being silly. That's probably because she was the only person from Constantine. I don't know. In my head, then I was thinking, oh, she's the only person that replied, so does that mean she's the only person in the course that is like me?
I thought you were just going to say it's the only person that wanted to.
No, right, forget what I've just said. I'm getting crazy. Forget that bit. Okay.
But I mean, I think it's important that it goes to show that like very quickly you can find new people if you. But the key thing is, I think that it's a case of you can find new people if you're willing to put the effort in and you're willing to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And go out of your way, meet new people, message these group course chats, finding people to walk to and from course buildings, I think is really useful.
I think it shows like maybe it's a certain personality being confident enough to put in a group chat like, is anyone going to walk with me? Because that's quite a big thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that she did that shows that she's quite similar to me, I think.
Yeah.
I just have that in my head. So, but there's ways for everyone, like whatever personality, to meet people with the same personality.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm going to share with you a little story from Freshers Week that I can remember. I think it was from Freshers Week. My memory's probably warped it into being from Freshers Week. But there was this girl, I mean, I'm welcome to hear any stories that come up, as I say. So there was this girl who was from America, and she was an American exchange student. And so you were aware in America the legal drinking age is 21.
Oh, yeah.
So she hadn't drank anything her entire life until coming to university, because in the UK the drinking age is 18. So she turned 18 as she arrived at university, and then was excited to learn that she could legally drink in the country. So there was it was after a couple of nights, because to begin with she didn't really go that hard, and then she started to get to used to it. I don't know if you can get used to it after 3 nights. But there was this one night where, so my flat was quite boisterous, quite ladsy, if you know what I mean. And there was this one night when an argument started about something. I can't remember what. This was early on, so we were having arguments from the beginning right till the end when we all left.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And an argument started, and basically it was one of the lads was saying that she was drinking too much and going a bit too mad. And she didn't like the fact that he'd said that. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, don't know what went through her head, but she decided to bite him.
What? No. Why did she do that?
I literally have no idea. She it was so funny, actually. She decided to bite him, and then and she got carried out by 4 lads.
No way.
I've got a whole Snapchat story of this happening.
Insert footage.
Oh yeah, insert footage on the side. No, I get absolutely. Oh god, if I put that footage in, it's so cringy.
Okay.
But it's basically just she's like having a go at him, and then like a few minutes later, she's like, "You just fucking bit me," and then basically she's like, everyone's going like, "Oh my god!" and she gets carried out by these lads and taken to her room, and they just leave her there, and then
lock her in.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had to get her to open the door so we could take her in and just leave her there, but she drank way too much and it was just embarrassing.
Wow.
I've talked about on this already, the importance of managing what you're able to do in terms of drinking, because it can be quite an intense environment, and as you can see, some people can't handle it.
Yeah, I think for me as well at Freshers Week, I didn't want to get absolutely hammered because I was like a bit like I need to stay on my toes, and I didn't know who I was with, I didn't know where I was going, what if something happened that needed me to step up and I don't know, get home somehow. I didn't want to get absolutely hammered and in that first sort of few weeks. So, but as I relaxed more, I definitely enjoyed sort of having a drink, and being around people that I could trust and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I got to know them more.
That's to be fair, you mentioned the idea of being around people you don't know, and it's a topic that keeps coming up across these episodes when we talk about things like this, because when you join uni and you're drinking with these people, like Freshers Week is supposed to be that thing where you're drinking, but at the end of the day, you don't know these people, and they could be you could be living with anyone, and it's
literally, yeah.
And it's like, I don't expect you to have an answer, but how do you get over that feeling in the early days, or do you just is it just a case of limiting what you do and not going as ridiculous? And
I think I could grasp quite quickly if there was anyone. I don't know, I think being a good reader of people is helpful. Like, I don't know what it is, I just feel like I can read if they're like someone I need to watch out for or not. And my flat, they were really nice people.
Yeah.
So I didn't find the need to sort of keep looking like around, I don't know, like watching my back and stuff or whatever. I didn't even have that feeling when I came to York. I don't want people to start feeling like, oh my god, what if my neighbour's like a murderer or something like that. Like, that's not how you should go, because I think the majority of people are nice in the world. So yeah, I think, and then just as you get to know them more, you can sort of figure out if they're someone you can trust or not.
Or completely mental.
Yeah.
Like that American.
Yeah.
No, she's actually a nice person. It's just, I think it was a bit intense that first week, and things happen and people make mistakes, I suppose. But yeah, definitely being aware of yourself and not going too mental is always a good plan. I mean, is there any from Freshers Week, were there any clubs that you really enjoyed that you went to that you thought that you then ended up going every single night of the first year?
I loved Cuda because there was this stage. I call it a stage, and it's just not a stage. It's like a seat, and I stood up on this seat with some friends, and we were dancing, and I just loved the music. Like, that was all me. When it wasn't cheesy, like, it was good songs that I knew.
That was all me.
Good music, and but to be honest, we don't go to Cuda a lot, and I want to go more because I liked it, but everyone's just like up for Salvos. Salvos is good as well, and I also do like Society a lot.
Yeah.
But I think Cuda falls on football night, so.
I mean, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I've only got a bit of a nitpick with Cuda. It's just the fact that whenever I'm in there, I can never find the toilet, and then I can never find the way out. It's like
a maze, isn't it? It's a maze. Yeah, that's like a lot of clubs around where I live, like, are a bit like that. too big, too tall,
Yeah.
too many floors.
There's too many floors, and then when I'm on the bottom floor, I think I'm on the top floor, and then
Yeah,
it's just a bit mad.
That.
Did you ever go to Fibbers? Did you ever go before it closed?
Yeah, it's very sweaty.
Fibbers is one of the best clubs, I think, or was one of the best clubs.
A Fibbers cheesy night in Freshers, and I've got a video of me filming myself, like just like this is so shit.
Oh, critic.
But no, and then I went to a Fibbers night after Freshers, and it was much better. Yeah. I did jump on the stage where the DJ is, and I got told off.
Oh, cheeky. Yeah, don't do that. They don't like that. Not that it matters anymore.
I had to experience it though.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, Fibbers is a great venue. I absolutely love it. It's such a shame that it's closed down. But like, to put it in perspective, why Fibbers is so good, like it's had a surprising number of big artists play at Fibbers. Like, just to mention one of them, Sam Fender played at Fibbers before he became famous.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did not know that.
Literally, he played at Fibbers, and then about a month, maybe 2 months later, he blew up and became like Sam Fender.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Fibbers made him.
Yeah, he was made at Fibbers.
I like Fibbers. It's more of like an actual, like, it gives me like concert vibes, like in that back room, more than Salvo's with the big screen and like proper stage and stuff.
It's an odd club in the sense that there are like two dance floors literally within almost the same room. It's like separated by a door. But I mean, it's a great club. It's such a shame that this year's upcoming freshers won't experience it. Possibly not experiencing quite a lot of the York Uni nightlife.
I know.
But I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah. Can't do anything.
Now this next one. You've said that you hate this club, and I'm like, I've got to find out why. It's Flares. Why do you hate Flares? Flares has got nothing wrong.
I just don't like the music. Every Wednesday we're in Flares before the football social. We go to Pop World because we're sponsored by them, and the player of the match gets a free bottle of Prosecco, so that's a good. Oh wow. Good little thing. And then we go to Flares, and I was just like dragged along, and I'm like, guys, why don't we just go to Society? It's closer by like a metre.
But yeah, literally nothing.
My friends are like, okay, we'll have one drink in Flares, and then we'll go to Society, and we end up being in Flares for like 5 hours.
See, in my opinion, that's a perfect night. 5 hours in Flares, yes please.
I don't know, maybe I need to loosen up a bit. I just don't like the music. I want to do something.
It's just cheesy. It's just great cheesy songs. It's brilliant. I know you said you don't like cheesy songs, but
yeah,
I think it's just a really friendly environment, and it's just like, it's got the light up dance floor. You know,
that's cool.
I actually had my 20th birthday party there. I booked out Flares and did like a party there. It was well fun. It was great.
No way.
We had like,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was a lot of fun. And there's like loads. They gave us a drinks deal. It was really fun, and everyone had a good time. Nice. And light up dance floor was great. But I mean, don't knock off Flares, please.
Okay, sorry.
But like Society, Society is where I spent most of my first year night out. I'm pretty sure, like it was Society, then somewhere else. It was like that was the night out. It was Society and then somewhere else. Like that. That's pretty much how it went. Like
I like Society a lot.
But I think I've got this disclaimer. I love Society, but I'm gonna have to say that after an entire year, 2 years of going to Society, their playlist doesn't change. They play the same songs every week.
Really? Yeah. That's the same everywhere. I feel like in Salvo's, sometimes I get really disappointed by Salvo's because like I go there and I'm expecting, music that I like and stuff on the bottom floor. Actually, yeah. And then suddenly Lion King comes on. After AJ Tracy.
I mean,
now Lion King is on, and I'm like, we need to leave.
What is going on? The cross genre here is illegal to say the least. But I mean, come on, like let's be real. The York nightlife is anticlimactic at best. Like we gotta make do with what we've got. But yeah, Society is where it's at. I mean, it's a good club. I mean, it's one of the few that's probably going to still be around, so you better enjoy it while it's there.
Well, there's always rumours though, isn't there? Like I heard about I heard a few times like, oh, society's closing down, they're making it into a hotel. And I'm like, what? No, where are we gonna go? And then it's still up. Like I don't know. Do people just make that up?
Yeah. Hashtag doubt react. It's very much just it's rumor. It happens every year. Everyone says that a club in York at random will be closed down. And then the irony was that Fibbers actually was. So they got it right that time. But yeah, Society's great. I mean, I feel like after a few months, it's probably because I don't go to Salvo's that often that I haven't noticed the music repeats. But like Society, I did gradually just start to realise that they repeat the same songs. And it just gets boring because, you know, it's only that interesting for so long. And that's just how it is. But by far, like, another great Prees venue that I love is Stone Roses. You must like Stone Roses.
I do like it, but I don't know all of the songs like quite a lot.
I just love being in Stones, just absolutely belting out the songs.
Yeah, I like the look of Stones. Like, it's just cool, isn't it?
It is.
It's a bit different. There's not many. Yeah, no, I do like Stones. I like the look of it. It's cool. I like the black and white checkered tiles in the bathroom. Oh yeah,
that's a classic. I played a gig in Stone Roses in November last year.
What?
It was, right, this is a story that I've literally been waiting to tell on this podcast for 4 episodes now, and here we are, finally gotten the opportunity. Thank you, Faye.
You're welcome. I set you up.
Yeah, so it was probably the best 2 hours of my life for what was the most stressful 7 hours prep of my life.
What were you doing? I didn't know you were musical.
Well, I'm in a band.
Okay.
And we got the opportunity to play a gig there on the 15th of November, I believe it was. We got an opportunity to play a gig there because Aaron worked there. There's the lead singer, Aaron. He worked in Stones, so we got the opportunity to ask if we could play.
Oh.
Now, the caveat was we needed to be able to provide a full sound system and drum kit, everything. We had to provide it all. And basically, for some reason, I'd taken it upon myself to organise that.
Oh no.
And also help put it together with this guy that I'd roped in who was an audio engineer to help me put it together on the day. So I turned up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and my dad rolled up in his car, literally filled to the brim with speakers and mixing desks and everything. And he rolled up, and the guy who owned Stone Roses thought we were signed because my dad has a Range Rover. So he thought we were signed to a label.
You could have played that so well.
Yeah. And
I really hope that you let him believe that.
No, I was literally like, nah, it's just my dad. So that was a bit of a funny thing. But literally, so I'd been there from like 3 o'clock in the evening, and literally took us like 4 hours to set up this sound system because we'd never done it before, like testing stuff. And if you don't understand how difficult it was, Stone Roses is open throughout this entire time. So there's people drinking whilst we're trying to set up this sound system. And there's this group of like middle-aged women, like during the day, middle-aged men and women seem to drink all over in York. And they were just in our face all of the time, just like making it so much harder than it needs to be. And that was just adding to my stress because we were having tech issues and things were going wrong. And then there was these women just coming over and just being like, play us a song. And I was just like, get out of my face. But anyway, like, it was very stressful, but it built up to the time when it was going to happen, and all my friends turned up. We packed out the venue, 200 people. We packed out the entire Stone Roses, and halfway through the gig, I mean, it sounds like I'm beating myself up, but it's not. This is literally what happened. Halfway through the gig, a bunch of my mates started a chant, and they were chanting my name, and it was like, and then it spread to the whole thing, and I was like, this is my time.
Did you crowd surf?
Oh, I wish. Stone Roses is not that big.
No.
But genuinely, that was one of the funnest nights of my uni life. I'm not going to lie. But the most stressful night of my life as well. Because we had a 2-hour set that we'd been rehearsing for weeks and weeks in advance. And we were so nervous about performing. but such a good live music venue. Like, I mean, again, the main idea is to try and encourage people to go places, and I mean, Stone Rose is a classic one, but live music at some of these places is great, and you know, I mean, not just because we played there, but because generally it is just fantastic. And it's a great place to go before you go to clubs as well. Do you go to Lowther very much? I mean, Lowther's like another one.
I've been a few times. It's not like sort of the main. To be honest, we just like preed in the kitchen, and then we go to Society, and then Salvo's. Like, that was our routine.
Yeah.
We didn't really go on to many pubs before.
I mean, Lowther is a good place, but it's really expensive. They do a thing called a Lowther card. Now, don't be a fool. If you're gonna get a Lowther card, spread it out in a friendship group. Only buy one Lowther card, because they don't check who has the Lowther card. Otherwise, you'll all be paying for a Lowther card when you could literally just have one between a friendship group.
I think there was like an offer at some point to get one, and so I've got a Lowther card. Yeah.
It is the way to go. Saves you money, and without it, you're paying extortionate prices for drinks as well, because Lowther is way too expensive. But I mean, seeing as though I shared a little story of my Freshers Week, do you have any ideas of anyone that did anything in your Freshers Week that was maybe like a rookie error that you look back on now and you think maybe shouldn't have done that? Like, you know, getting off with any flatmates, or not you personally? I don't mean
plenty of that.
And did anyone get food poisoning or anything? Or
I don't think so. You know.
Did anyone lose a room key and get locked out?
Oh my God. I was the queen of that.
Did you lose a lot of room keys?
I lost about 20.
It's so frustrating, isn't it?
I got friends with made friends with the receptionist, because
you've been there that often.
She knew who I was. She was like, "Oh, Faye, back again, lost a room card." Yep. I chipped my tooth on Salvo's dance floor.
How'd you do that?
This is a rookie error. Taking a glass bottle onto the dance floor and drinking from it.
Oh. And
then being knocked.
Straight into
that
the
was
teeth.
a scary night. And then I just saw this bit of tooth come away in my hand.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And then I went to the toilet, and then I looked, and it was like, not that bad. Anyway, you can't really tell.
No, I mean, I didn't notice, and I didn't notice until you mentioned it.
Yeah.
But literally, teeth is something I have a proper phobia about, because I had horrible teeth before I had braces, and then 2 years of like having my gums shredded by the braces, you know, because it's like a wire.
Yeah.
It's not fun. And now it's like I don't like teeth being broken.
No, I don't like teeth. It's scary, nice. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, after Freshers ends, did you enjoy did you get into a good routine? Did you start to, you know, develop after Freshers Week ended? And you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think it sort of improved, like, weekly. I think the most important thing is just surrounding yourself with, like, good people, and that's what really makes the experience. And, like, once you've got that sorted, it just can, you know, get better and better.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Football really helped, though. Like, that was, like, a nice routine to have. Because that's something I would do at home, so it just sort of made me feel more connected, I don't know, with how I was at home, so... Yeah.
It sounded like it did help with you. I mean, sports was a big thing for me. Like, going to the gym was something that I needed to sort out, because that's a good routine to get into. And I mean, doing sports is another good routine. But I want to touch on a little bit about like being thrust into independence and a bit of like homesickness around that, because I got pretty homesick. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I had like 2 weeks where I'd wake up feeling really anxious every day, which wasn't pleasant.
No.
Because you sort of like it affects your sleep as well, because you know, you're anxious when you go to bed and you wake up feeling anxious, so you sort of like, you just feel exhausted all the time. And
then tiredness, that for me, just tired equals emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but what was I going to say? I don't know. Carry on, because then I'll remember.
But I mean, I think homesickness is something that doesn't get mentioned all that much, because it kind of can be seen as it's a little taboo, I suppose, because some people feel comfortable talking about it, some people don't want to really approach the idea, and you know, refuse to accept that they may have been homesick.
It's just so normal, and I wish, like, I just didn't even know, I didn't even think homesick when I went to uni. Like, I think I really try, I think, on my channel just to sort of spread the normality of it, and like that it's really normal, and a lot of people feel it, and it's fine, and it will get better, and because it's just what I went through. And like I was never homesick, like, but then I don't remember ever being homesick as a child, but it's just something about going to uni and then being away from your mum. I was like, I want my mum.
It's a shock. I want my mum.
Yeah.
It's a shock, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you see? I mean, and then a lot of thing that I think comes into that feeling of homesickness is like almost feeling inadequate if you choose to go home for a weekend early, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a stigma around people choosing to go home early?
Yeah, definitely. I remember like telling my flat, I think a few times even, like I'd say, right, I'm going home on Friday for a weekend. They'd be like, again? And I'm like, why do you have to say that?
Yeah.
Isn't it fine? Like, yeah. But to be honest, I remember I went to my supervisor at one point just to say, like, what do you recommend? And she was like, right, go home tonight. And I was like, it's Tuesday. I was going to go home Friday. She was like, go home, come back next Monday. And that helped massively, going home for a big time. And I think it was just like realising that everything's still at home, like everyone's still going to be there for you when you come back. Like I just felt like really two separate worlds, but it's not like that. There's, you know, yeah. And something else that really helped was in second term, I went back with so much more stuff in my bedroom. And like, I think my room was a bit gloomy. Constantine's notice boards are dark red, and you can't do many colour themes with dark red. So I literally covered it with pictures, and then I went like light blue. I got like nice new duvet. I got loads of fairy lights. And I know this is like a bit girly, but yeah, that really helped me feel more at home. Just had loads of stuff from my room. That was good.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, you know, it's important to make yourself feel at home, and like you're right, like Constantine's rooms are a bit bare, and then with the big red notice board it is just a bit like, what am I going to do with this? In terms of like the stigma of going home too early though is like such a real thing, and I think it's important to like be aware of what you need at that moment in time, because that's those few months, in my opinion, are like such key moments in the whole uni like life. If you go into that first year or that first term and you really come out the other side of it feeling like you've made a mistake and should have gone home and haven't enjoyed it as much because you didn't, you know, keep connected to you know, home life, I think that can be quite a challenging thing to go through. I felt the pressures of going home too early, and to the extent that I basically didn't go home. I just thought, in my mind, the solution that I had was, well, I'm feeling, you know, anxious about being at uni. I'm feeling, you know, out of my comfort zone. So the solution for that clearly is just stick it out as long as I can, and just make it so it's a routine, and get over it. Like, and in hindsight, I don't agree that was the right thing to do.
I think it's, if you want to go home, you should just go home. But then saying that, it's easier said than done for some people, because like if you're from London, and you need to go home one weekend and then you need to go home the next, that's either not financially like feasible, or it's just going to take a lot of your time sat on a train. But for me, I felt quite lucky that I was close enough to be able to get home when I wanted. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like, it is obviously a completely unique situation for everyone. Being close to home is obviously really handy. And if you live like hundreds of miles away, it's obviously a bit more of a serious conversation you have to kind of have. But, you know, as things go, for my personal experience, I definitely should have looked at coming home a few more times than I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it might have worked out better. It might not have. I mean, it's a situation that's unique for everyone, and
it's just because it's all trial and error, isn't it? No one knows how they're going to feel when they get to uni, and no one knows how to fix that feeling. So it's like you can't. You just got to try stuff, and like you saying you regret doing that, but you didn't know at the time what was the best thing to do. And
exactly.
Yeah. But my supervisor was dead helpful, really nice, and really she knew what to do, because obviously I'm sure she's had many kids go to her homesick, so
Yeah, they
she was,
probably they
big help.
see it quite a lot, I reckon.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I would say is if you do feel like you need to go home, I think just ignore the stigma around going home too early, and try and just maybe a day or a weekend. But I'm also going to advocate, staying out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself and trying to, get over it if you can naturally, by going out and meeting people and speaking to supervisors and taking advice, because I think that's the biggest thing. Like, just talking to other people, your flatmates even, about what they're experiencing. And because you're with everyone, you're doing it together, so you're probably all somewhat having the same experience.
Feel it the same. Yeah.
And I've had nights where I was feeling like that, and then someone would come by and I'd just casually say, like, yeah, I'm not feeling too great, and then suddenly they're saying the same thing, and it's like you feel great immediately because someone's connected with you on that level. And it's like it just takes like that casual chance conversation, and then suddenly you feel like you're not alone in that experience, which is what everyone wants to feel, that they're not alone in a certain experience. But yeah, that's my advice for that.
Yeah, good advice.
Yeah. So you talked about how, like, when you're moving in with a new group of people, it can be a bit nerve-wracking about who you are moving in with. So I thought I'd share a little story about a time when perhaps I thought I was in over my head a little bit about who I was living with. So this was in first term, I'm pretty sure. There was a night when a few people in the flat decided to go out clubbing, and they did this a few times over the year. When I was like tired or had something in the morning that I needed to be at, like was important, and they decided to go out, and it was about 2:00 in the morning when I heard them come back. And I usually guess when they come back home quite early that it hasn't been very successful. So usually it's not, because York nightlife isn't amazing. And I heard them come home quite early, so it did wake me up because I wasn't wearing earplugs, which I did eventually end up wearing earplugs.
Me too.
Yeah. Earplugs are so useful, like, trust me. I used them throughout all of my second year when I moved to a new house with new people, or with people from my flat. Earplugs was amazing, but I'll cover that in another video because I think that's important. But yeah, they came back 2 a.m., settled down for about 10 or 15 minutes in the kitchen, and I could tell something was wrong because there was an argument starting and I could hear it. And literally, after about 5 or 10 minutes, they started shouting really, really loudly, and I was sleeping, and like proper shook me up because it sounded like there was a fight happening as well, because there was things being thrown, and I could hear one of them like shouting at this guy, and I knew what it was about because like this guy was quite lads, and he didn't really care too much about how people thought of him.
Right.
And this had been building up for quite a few weeks, like little things like he was quite annoying, quite rude without really meaning to be rude, if you know what I mean. Like it's just his humor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And this had been building up, and literally she was just going off at him, just being like, shut the fuck up, you don't care about anyone, you're such an asshole. Like, and it was like such a it's like a scary moment to be in though, when you're like trying to sleep and you get woken up at 2 a.m. to this horrendous sort of shouting match going on. And it proper like shook me up because it felt like it was going to get physical, because I could hear things like smacking and banging, and the doors were slamming and stuff, and it was a proper intense situation to be in. And I feel like maybe there are quite a few situations like that people experience that put them off socializing with their flat or alienate them. I mean, it didn't personally for me, because I think I kind of agreed with what she was saying, but I just didn't really agree with the way in which it had happened, that had taken place. I mean, it was quite a volatile flat in some senses, but we got along great in most situations. But like, in terms of like, you are just put in a group of people that you've never met before, it's like, that is quite an intense situation to be in. Like waking up in the morning, and it's like, Christ.
And everyone has their own, like, everyone sort of like come to uni with different ways of living, like even bedtimes and stuff like that. Like my flat were very loud. I'm someone that can't, like, no, obviously on a night out, like I'm happy like staying up because I'm having fun, but I get tired and I'm just like, I just want to go to bed sometimes, like especially if I've got something on in the morning. And my flat weren't very like thoughtful in the fact that other people might be asleep, so
that's what mine were like.
Yeah, I didn't like that, because for me, when I'm coming back from a night out and I know they've not been out, I'm very quiet. I'm telling my friends to whisper down the corridor, like, yeah, why are they kicking a ball at 3 a.m. against people's doors? Like, things like that I really didn't like. And people just have different, like, morals and stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
We had stuff like that, like banging on doors ridiculously late when I'm trying to sleep and things like that. But I mean, it happens. It's the uni life, and I think it's a part of what it's like being independent and living with a group of 12, which is what I was living with.
Yeah.
You're going to get lots of people with different personalities and different things that are going on. What sort of advice and things would you maybe give to someone who's maybe feeling trapped at uni, or trapped in their flat, or like isolated, if trapped's too much of a like intense word?
For me, like, try out your supervisor, because she really did help me, and it felt like sort of like an adult figure there that knew what she was talking about, and she would direct me, so she was a really big help. And then I think, like you said before, talking to people, because there were people in my flat that related to me, and we both sort of helped each other out at times. So, and it was nice to know, like, oh, there's someone across the hall that feels the same. Like, it's not just me in this whole block.
Yeah.
Like, so that was nice. I think, honestly, like, talking to people helped, like, friends and stuff, because they were like, oh, why don't you try this, or do you do this? And it was just nice and they would check up on you and stuff. That's quite nice.
I mean, that's something that I advocate all the time, like communicating and talking to people and meeting new people, because chances are you're going to find out that someone else is having that same experience, and I think it's really important. One of the things that I noticed with some people that I knew was getting stuck in your room, like creating a cycle of like being in your room and not really going out too much. And I think it's important to try and recognize that maybe you spend too much time in your room, and trying to get out and meet people. Because you can kind of fall through the cracks a little bit if you stay in your room too much. And
but on the other scale of that, I think there was a time where I spoke to my mum, and she was like, because there was a point where, you know, I couldn't, like, I was struggling to sleep a bit at night because I was like not comfortable and stuff. But for me, I actually think I was forcing myself out of my room so much that I didn't feel used to my room. So that when I came home at night, it was like strange. I don't know.
You weren't used to it yet.
Yeah, it's also, as well as, you know, forcing yourself to get out of your room, like, also make sure you're, like, comfortable in your room.
So it's finding a good balance.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I completely agree. It's finding a good balance. Like, I was not at all advocating, like, alienating yourself from your room.
I know. Yeah.
But, like, and then in terms of things to do when you're out of your room, like joining a sports team, like you've mentioned, is really important. You know, like, there's loads of sports fitness classes that go on, that societies and all sorts of stuff. One of the big things that a lot of people do at uni is join a gym as well, because of like how big it is on campus and the fact that there's two. It's I think a lot of people go through that thought process of, I might join the gym. There's, like, you know, Sports Village has a swimming pool and tennis courts and all that, and West is like big, you know, weightlifting and, like, you know, all the big sports halls and stuff. And I think that's a big factor that goes into, you know, getting a good balance between the uni life and the work life a bit. Which gym do you think is better?
Do you know what?
Sports Village or Sports Centre?
I didn't sort of like investigate them, so I don't know, because I was just playing too much to go to the gym on top of that.
I can try and use you as like an unbiased test bed now, if you'd like, and then we'll wrap up the podcast.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, Sports Centre versus Sports Village. Here we go. So we'll start with membership price, because I feel like that is the most important thing. So for a student at the Sports Centre, it's £26 a month.
Okay.
And for the Sports Village, it's £35 a month.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, obviously there are certain differences in what you get for value. So the Sports Centre has like Olympic weightlifting, You know, you've got huge sports, like, you know, society, like clubs around that literally use the sports centre every week, every day. You've got huge supports from the university, and, you know, like, there's professionals who, you know, do fitness instructing, who do personal training. I mean, this also parallels over to the sports village, but it's not as diverse in terms of, like, the Olympic weightlifting stuff and, you know, the real dedicated, like, uni sort of sports societies, because not a lot of them use the village. I think it's more centred around the centre. It's really close to James and West College is the sports centre, so it's pretty much like dead in the middle of uni. You've got loads of access to like the vast majority of the uni campus, whereas like the sports village is right over on the other side of East. It's like even further than East. It's like nearly at the motorway. So it's quite a trek if you want to go there for like a casual gym session. Also at the sports centre, you get the sports pitches, you get the courts. I think that's also mirrored with the sports village, so you get that just as equal. The sports centre is an older building, though, so it's not as modern. So that comes part and parcel of, like, it's not as clean, it's not as modern, the equipment's not as fresh. You know, you know, there is a clear like wear and tear on the building, whereas the sports village is like really modern. It's brand new. There's loads of like new equipment, new machines, new weightlifting, that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if you are a stickler for having like brand new stuff, maybe the sports village is for you. You get the water. Oh yeah, a con for the sports centre is the water fountain in the gym often breaks. So,
right.
so that is a con. It like most months it breaks at some point. And I mean, in terms of like acclimatizing to where you might eventually do exams, the sports centre is where exams are kept. So like if you go to the sports centre quite a lot to do sports, chances are it's not going to be a massive fish out of water moment when you have to go there for your exam for the first time, because you'll be used to the room, you'll be used to the building, because they do the exams in the big sports hall, the really big one. So that you might have a step up over someone else who's in this huge hall for the first time, whereas you've already been there because you've done a sports society or an event or something, and it's not as intense. Whereas the opposite is sports village, exams don't happen there. So
I'm seeing a lot of pros for the sports centre. That's what I'm aiming towards. I'm swaying.
And then obviously, I've already mentioned this, but the gym equipment at the sports centre is quite worn and old, whereas the sports village, it's really modern and expensive. So that's what I've covered so far with the sports centres. What do you reckon? What would you choose if you were a fresher looking for a gym membership?
Fresher on a budget looking for a gym membership, I'd 100% sports centre. If I was rich, and because I like a swim.
I think
there's not a pool, is there, on the sports centre?
No, there's no pool in the sports centre. I think there's a sauna in the sports village as well.
Oh, it's turning into a spa.
Yeah.
But I think sports centre just sounds too many pros. It's closer to everyone, to most people. Yeah, it's got all the facilities there other than a pool, and I like the exam point, so I'm going sports centre.
Fair enough. I agree. I actually do go to the sports centre gym, but I'm aware of both. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah. Now we're going to be wrapping up this episode really soon, and I genuinely think this has been a great episode. Thank you for coming on and speaking to me.
It's been great. Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap it up with a few last points and circling back to sort of like mental health and independence before we finish it. A lot of students, a lot of freshers, when they go to university, will sort of see their parents' influence on the process as maybe being either overbearing or welcomed. In your opinion, how did you experience that? Did you enjoy how much did your parents get involved after Freshers Week finished? Were they keeping tabs on you quite a lot, or was it more just they let you like do your thing and you keep in touch?
Yeah, I think it was that. It was me keeping in touch with them, contacting them when I wanted to. I think there was a stage where I was like, I don't want to ring them because I'll cry. But then towards the end, it was like, oh, I want to see what my mum's doing today. Like, so I think it was nice that they sort of let that choice go down to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find that useful, or was that sort of, did you wish it had been a bit more contact, or not been?
No, I think it was just right. Yeah. And I think being homesick, you either like, I think, yeah, like I said, there was a point where I didn't want to hear from them because I thought it would make me upset. But then I realised, no, actually, it does help keeping in contact with people from home. So I think I had a good balance, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a pretty good balanced first year as a whole. And
yeah.
I hope second year goes very well for you.
Yeah, I think
it will.
I'm looking forward to living in a house with all my friends. That'll be really nice.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people go through, that experience of, you know, getting through first year, and then the dynamic does change quite a bit in second year. It becomes a bit more like everyone's more close, and you know, you have proper friendship groups, and you can start loving the life of uni through second year, and then the dread of third year arrives.
Oh god.
But
Hope not.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But thank you so much for coming on the episode. We're going to end it now, and you are more than welcome to follow it on YouTube, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify. I say this at the end of every one, but it's where you can find it. So wherever you've been listening to it, you've been listening to us talk about all the freshest stuff and anxieties and things like that, and I hope you've learned something useful and maybe influenced where you're going to go at York, which college you choose, which bar you might visit. I mean, there's a lot to choose from. So thank you very much from me for listening, and thank you, Faye, for joining me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks for having me. I've loved it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
It's been good.
It's been fantastic. Have a great second year, though. Truly.
Thank you.
Have a great second year. Right, and we'll see you in next week's episode.